Hey, the pimento rifle. Drop the gun! Oh, shit! I'm hit. I'm okay. But I'm not gonna die.
Welcome to Badges, Bullets, and Blunders, the show that tells funny cop stories from real people who live them. I'm the host, Travis Harless. Before we get started, if you'd like to support our podcast, go ahead and check out our friends at Slick Sleeve Syndicate. It's just a t-shirt company. Available on the website are these Make Patrol Great Again hats. If you're interested, go buy a hat. Today's guest is my friend RJ. RJ was a police officer in California, currently retired. RJ, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? What did you do before you became a police officer? How long were you an officer? And what are some of the assignments you worked when you were an officer?
Okay, before I became a police officer, I actually worked in hazardous waste.
Okay.
I liked my job. It was a little bit dirty. I was living with a police officer.
What kind of hazardous waste?
Used oil filters, things like that. So what we do is we collect this hazardous waste from different businesses and transport it down toward Los Angeles, and that's kind of how the business ran.
Yeah. I was thinking like, I don't know, poop or something like that. Yeah.
No.
Sanitation.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done that. But then I ended up becoming a police officer. 1999.
Yeah.
I worked in law enforcement in one capacity or the other for 26 years.
Yeah. Well, because you're still working in law enforcement. And we'll get to that.
Still working in law enforcement. Yeah. I retired originally as a senior police officer. Some of the assignments I worked in the gang unit. I was assigned to Vice, which was a really good time. I was assigned to general investigations. And I think the thing that I enjoyed most was being an FTO.
Okay. Field training officer.
Okay.
And then you medically retired in what year?
2017.
And then you continue to work for the same agency in a different capacity, though.
Correct.
Yeah. So what is it that you do?
Investigator.
Nice. So people trying to get hired to become, is it just officers or is it all positions?
Several different positions. Any position within my agency, and then certain positions, other positions outside of our agency, but within the city.
Okay. Yeah. Before we finish up, we'll get into some of the specifics on that.
Move closer to you. I feel like you're kind of leaning. I don't want you to be uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll get into some do's and don'ts when it comes to the background process a little bit later. So when you were an officer, you had some funny encounters that we wanted to talk about. Tell us about the time the 250 and the fart and formation.
Okay, this is the very beginning of my career. We're in the police academy, right? And I'm young. I'm probably 22 years old. I was never in the military, so I had no idea what to expect, and never anything structured where people were yelling at me, and I think that the majority of my academy was like that, except we had a Navy SEAL.
Okay.
And this Navy SEAL wasn't like the other one that you're thinking of. This guy was a legit Navy SEAL that had been on several missions. But the thing about it is he was, if he was 5 foot tall, he was barely 5 foot tall, but he was yoked, 0% body fat. This guy, you work at the academies, like at the beginning of the academy, they challenge you physically, see where you're at, like how many push-ups can you do, and then they try and mark your improvement. Day one, this guy gets down and he does 250 push-ups, and then pops up and goes, "I think that's enough to start with." It's like we do our PT, and it wasn't enough for this guy. So he got home from the academy and he put a rucksack on and his boots, and he lived up on the hill. And he would run out to south of town and back. Yeah. And then he'd go for a 3-hour swim. And that's just what you could, this was the guy that's unbreakable. You know, it doesn't matter what you do to him. You can't hurt him physically or mentally. And so, and he's our class leader, and he can feel kind of the vibes in the class, and he can tell when people are stressed out, and he'd always do funny stuff, you know, to lower the mood when people are stressed out. So one day we're all in formation and we're about to get it. You know, it's just one of those days you're going to get it for no reason at all.
Yeah.
And RTO, it is exactly right. Yeah. Yeah. The RTO woke up on the wrong side of the bed, and he's going to go kick someone's shoes and scuff them so he can punish them or pull a button off a uniform or something like that. So he's walking down the formation inspecting people, and as soon as he walks past this SEAL, and the SEAL standing straight in front of me, this SEAL hikes his leg up and lets out the biggest, nastiest, wettest fart. And the art just totally broke the RTO.
Yeah.
You know, the RTO fell out of character and had to leave.
Yeah.
He had to leave the inspection of the formation, and that ended it. He that was the day that he saved us from getting punished. And I just thought that was
a tactical fart.
A tactical fart. I'd never seen anything like it. Everyone else is just scared out of their mind, and you just see this guy completely clown the RTO, and the RTO couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, if you break his character, you break him.
He broke his character, and it was just kind of like all of a sudden you recognize, okay, he just showed that whole class that this RTO was human.
That's hilarious. Yeah, because it's easy, especially if you don't come from the background, and to think these guys are serious, I guess, because it's all an act.
It's an act.
It's all an act. But then when you're new, you're like, oh, it's like you don't realize that they actually don't care about that stuff, but they're pretending that they care. And that's funny. You broke him. All right, talk to us about Chris and the suspect who always shit. So it's like you had multiple encounters with somebody.
I had this partner named Chris, and Chris and I loved to work together, and it was one of those partners that just worked so well with. We could read each other's minds. We always knew what the other one was going to do, and we were extremely successful.
Yeah,
you know, it's like when we were in a car together, lots and lots of people were going to go to jail. But in those encounters, working on the east side, you know, there's going to be lots of tussles and uncooperative people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, Chris was very proficient in using his taser. But the one thing Chris did with his taser that I hadn't seen anyone else do, every time Chris tased somebody, they shit themselves. Like he was like 100%. I could tase somebody and nothing. Chris tased someone, they shit themselves. And so I was always like, no, don't tase them. Don't tase them, because then we got to haul this person to CAMC
and their excrement,
and their excrement, and then it's in our car, and then we got to clean it up. So I would always, whenever I saw that taser clear that holster, like I would doing everything I could to.
That sounds like really bad luck. Poor dart placement. I would think that I would want my darts to whatever he's hitting.
His spread was right somehow.
So I would say his spread was wrong. Oh man.
I'd almost want to jump in front of the taser just to keep that from. Yeah. Because I'm one of those guys that smells just. I don't do smells. I don't do smells. You'll get me to throw up so quick. Yeah. So quick.
Then was COVID a good thing for you?
Yeah.
Remember people, they would lose their ability to taste and smell when they got COVID.
Yeah. COVID was a good thing for me.
We had Ryan on here before, and he was talking about that because he has a weak stomach and the smells would bother him. So after he got COVID, it was like a superpower, because then the smells, he couldn't smell anymore.
Well, there's three smells that really get me.
Yeah.
It's poop.
Yeah.
It's vomit.
Yeah.
And it's cat shit. Yeah. And it's gonna get me every single time. Or a burster. You know, a dead body, a popper.
So 4 smells. Yeah, that's and 3 out of the 4 you get quite a bit in as a patrol officer.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Talk to us about Bobby and the Purell foot pursuit.
Okay, I'm in the gang unit, and I'm partnered up with a guy named Ryan, and Ryan's a big guy, you know, super athletic. Shrek.
Yeah.
And Shrek, when you're with Shrek, I mean, he's the type of guy like when you're in a foot pursuit, you don't jump over fences. You get
Mhm.
behind Shrek and you run through fences.
Mhm.
And I mean, he's surprisingly agile.
Mhm.
I can remember like I went to the academy with him and he could do a roundhouse kick to a basketball net,
Wow.
freaking 9+ feet up in the air. But the guy goes about 285.
Yeah.
He's just a big guy.
He's a
And
big boy.
yeah. And so this rookie, who's real well thought of, and to this day he's real well thought of. I mean, I was a little salty at the time when we were in the gang unit, but like you get these certain people and these certain rookies, and you're like, man, that guy squared away.
Mhm.
He's good. So it's hot. I mean, it's probably August, and it's the temperatures where we live are like we're way up in the hundreds, and
Yeah.
it's just miserable.
And this is when you were wearing wool uniforms at the time.
Well, no, we were in the gang unit at that time.
Oh, okay.
So this rookie was wearing wools,
Yeah.
but we were wearing our nice gang unit uniform.
Gotcha.
But this poor rookie, he's suffering. He's suffering. So he gets in a foot pursuit, and it's like, okay, if this guy's chasing somebody, this is worth going to.
Uh-huh.
And so we're going, and it's like we can't catch up to this foot pursuit. It's along the train tracks,
Mhm.
and it goes. And like in my entire career, I've never seen a foot pursuit go this long. And I mean, like by the time it's done, he had to chase this guy like 2 miles, and he's on the train track, so you can't get to him. You're just trying to find a spot to where you can intercept him. Well, he finally catches this guy, and he's putting him in handcuffs, and we get there, and it looks like this rookie's going to die.
Yeah.
August, 105 degrees, 2 mile run in full uniform,
Yeah.
wolves, 32 pounds of gear. And this rookie is just like, he's so skinny anyway. It's like any liquid he had in his body was gone. So we're trying to get him some water. He can't talk.
Yeah.
And Ryan, we had a bunch of water bottles in our car. But the thing that Ryan was famous for, he wouldn't buy Purell.
Mm-hmm.
He'd get it from the station and put it in an empty water bottle, and that's how he kept his Purell.
Yeah, save money on
Save
that.
money. Yeah. So he grabs this water bottle and he throws it to this rookie, Bobby, and Bobby opens it and starts chugging it, Purell, and he starts puking.
Oh yeah.
And it's a total accident.
Yeah.
We never would have done this to this kid. It was a total accident. But that foot pursuit in that weather, and then you think you're going to get some water and some relief, and the first thing you get is a big old mouthful of
gelatinous alcohol.
Yes. No, and he puked and puked and puked.
So Purell cleanse. That's funny. Oh man. All right. And you've written some. Oh, we did a warrant story with John about a cavity search warrant. This sounds like it might be along that vein.
Yeah, my buddy John.
Mm-hmm.
John, he was another partner of mine in the gang unit. But I love that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this gets into my smells portion of my stories.
This is the worst.
This is the worst. So I was working Prostitute Aisle, right? Like our local strip where all of our motels are.
Yeah, the Blade.
Exactly. So what I was doing at that time is I'd been assigned to the area for a while, and I was mainly going after dope. This is back when dope was
a felony.
Or
a crime.
Like a crime. Like you got a dope arrest, and someone was minimum 18 months they were in. So you could do a lot of good. What I'd do was I would go to all these motels on this strip, and I kind of told them like, hey, if you want my cooperation in helping you and doing this, you're going to get a copy of photo ID for everyone you rent a room to.
Yeah.
And what I would do is in my off time, I would go and pull the records for the motels, and I would look at all the IDs. And what I would do is I would circle every name that was local, and then I would circle every name that paid with cash. And then I would go out to my car and I'd run these people. And I never got past the first 2 before I found someone on probation or parole.
Yeah.
And then I'd go and do my search. So I go, my partner and I, we do this. I mean, first person we hit pay dirt.
Mm.
She's 18, but she's on juvenile probation for possession for sales of crack.
Yeah.
I'm like, perfect. We got a winner.
Early start.
Yeah, early start. So we go, and the shades are up on the window. We can see inside, knock on the door, identify ourselves as police officers. She looks out at us. Her pants are unbuttoned and partially unzipped. And instead of opening the door, she goes over onto the bed and lays down and puts her hands under her. I'm like, oh, okay, we're going to play this game. So we go and get the key to the room, and we open it up. And we detain her, search the room, don't find anything. So we call a female officer over. The female officer comes over, and the girl will not consent to a strip. So we arrest her,
Yeah.
For obstructing, and we take her to the jail, and we have the female DOs go in and start the strip on her. Well, as they start the strip on her, she reaches down inside of her panties, pulls something out, and eats it. So I was like, okay, now we got to take her to KMC. All right. So we take her to KMC, and my partner sits on her, and the female officer that was helping me, she was a very experienced dope cop, very good officer, had written a ton of warrants. And so I got to write a warrant. I got to write a warrant for this girl's stomach contents.
Yeah.
And for the contents of her vajayjay. So this female officer, she helps me crank out this warrant, right?
Yeah.
I go to the judge's house in the middle of the night, wake him up. He reads the warrant, laughs his ass off, and signs it. So I go back to the hospital, and I present this warrant to the doctor.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, what do you want me to do? I go, like, I want her stomach contents and anything that's up inside of her cavity.
Yeah.
And he's really reluctant. He's like, no, I'm not doing this.
Sign up for this.
I'm not doing this. And I go, well, the judge says that you are.
Yeah.
So you're going to do this.
Yeah.
And so I'm in the waiting room like an expectant father. And this doctor brings out this bedpan. Well, I started with her cavity because that was more simple. Like to get it out of her stomach is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
And it's rock cocaine, so it's not water soluble. There's no risk like she swallowed meth or anything.
Yeah.
So he brings me out this bedpan, and it's got this giant saran wrap bundle of freaking dope.
Yeah.
And it's snotty and bloody because she was on her period, and she had that dope way up inside of her and her tampon in after that.
Yeah.
And so we go back to, we seize all this. It ends up being like over an ounce of rock, and inside the bag is a bunch of individual bags that she was going to sell to people. So note to listeners, like if you're interested in crack cocaine, think about where it could have been,
where it's being sourced.
where it could have been sourced. So my partner, Fred, he and I go back to the property room, and you remember how the old property room was. It was no bigger than a little closet.
Yeah.
I've got to cut this bloody snotty bag apart and count all the individual rocks and weight and everything else. So as I'm doing this smell permeates the property room, and he's holding a trash can for me while I'm cutting all this stuff apart and vomiting in the trash can at the same time.
It feels like something we would do outside.
The girl ended up getting 4 years out of that case.
Dang. The old sales case.
Yeah, but that was at the time, that was the only coochie warrant that I can remember.
Yeah, I've never heard of one being. I know the man prison wallet or the man wallet.
It's common.
Yeah, it's common.
Yeah, this one was less common.
Yeah. Pulling out a bag of rock covered in fettuccine Alfredo.
It was. It was, and it wasn't just the looks. It was seriously, I mean, the smell.
Yeah.
The smell was.
Yeah. So it's like an Asian fish market in here.
Well,
pH balance was off.
Yeah. So there was maybe an infection going on.
Well, get that looked at. All right, talk to us about. Oh man, I don't know.
Prison has good health care.
Yeah, I think the smells are going to get worse here. Colostomy bag.
Yeah. So Chris, one of my favorite partners, and I are at it again. and we're in the same strip where the search warrant happened.
Yeah. High crime area.
High crime area, and we get dispatched to a report of a lady exposing herself to traffic.
Mm-hmm.
She's supposed to be wearing a dress, and as cars drive by, she's pulling this dress up over her head and exposing herself.
You know, one thing you learn as a new officer is that those kind of calls of like the lady exposing herself is never someone that you would think you would want to be exposed.
No, it's not. No, there's no Christy Brinkley's.
No.
Think more of dirty Oprah.
Sorry, go ahead.
So we get there, and there's the convenience store right there on, it's on 4th, but on this strip.
Yep.
So you know which convenience store. And we look around, and we can't find this girl, but it smells. The smell is like, this is a stinky place, but it's never smelled like this. I mean, just smells like cat shit.
Yeah.
Just horrible. And it's like, we clear and like, we got to get out of here. This is bad. Really bad.
Like ammonia?
No, like cat shit. Like
that's
like runny cat shit. And so we don't find this lady, and we clear. So we leave. 2 minutes later, get dispatched back. Well, now she's a block away, back in the neighborhood, doing the same thing to oncoming traffic. So
Just trying to get customers.
yeah. So we go, and we end up finding this lady this time, and sure as shit, she's pulling her dress up over her head, just like fanning. Well, we get there and we start talking to her.
Airing it out.
Yeah, airing it out. Well, what happened is she's a prostitute, but she's a prostitute with a colostomy bag.
Yeah.
Colostomy bag ruptured, and she's trying to fan the smell away from herself. And she's fanning the smell for a block. And it is just the most horrible thing. She's not trying to get attention or customers. Her colostomy bag ruptured, and she's trying to fan the smell away from herself.
Nice.
That's insane.
Yeah, I thought we were talking about the colostomy bag. Maybe she was advertising like a different option. What is it called when when you have that hole where it comes out of?
I don't know.
What's the hole called?
Yeah, there's a term for it when they hook the bag up to. I thought maybe she was advertising a fourth option.
And it's like what do you do? What do you do with this lady?
Yeah.
You know, what do you do?
Yeah, nothing.
No, you got nothing,
Yeah.
but you can't let her keep doing what she's doing.
Yeah, call an ambulance.
Yeah.
You can't put her in the car.
No.
You can't drive her.
Oh, no. I think we ended up getting one of her family members
To come get her.
collect her.
It's probably the best thing for her.
Yeah.
Called the stoma.
Stoma, there you go.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought maybe she was advertising the stoma as option 4.
Yeah, it was bad.
Bad. Oh man, something that happened in the library. Talk about that.
All right, now this is probably the sickest thing, the grossest
Like
thing.
pool sick or
No, not cool
sick.
Because so
Not
Black-
sick.
Black death sick.
you remember, like, okay, when I started, it was rock cocaine,
Yeah.
and then
We've talked about the rock cocaine epidemic ending, and
and then it's meth.
now it's
Rest in
and
peace.
meth, and like
I miss rock cocaine.
I do too. I can remember going into rock houses, and literally there was so much fog from the cocaine based smoke that you couldn't see across the room. I can remember the smell. Crackheads were better to deal with
Much better
than meth
I mean, they had
heads,
superhuman strength. They were crazy, but
they were calm.
Yeah, and they had a level of reason that people on meth
Right.
just don't have.
Just real
Meth has no reason.
chill guys.
Not chill guys, but like I said before, like, nobody on crack ever showed up at the police department and waited for the cop cars to come out so they could jump out in front of them.
Exactly.
Nobody.
They generally kept to themselves. They tried to stay hidden.
And they tried to stay away from the police.
They did. They tried to stay with the police. They had their habit. They were generally up in a room or up in a house.
Yeah, but if you're on meth for some reason, you just want
wanna
to
do
come
it in
out
public,
and just get
yeah.
right in the officer's face.
Yeah. So this is crack's gone. We're in the meth era.
Mhm.
And you remember like what meth did to our homeless population. It was just like for some reason
Was it helpful?
they were against cleanliness. It's like they didn't shower. They didn't take care of themselves. You know,
So crack people were pretty.
they were cleaner. They were cleaner than meth heads. But you get these like homeless meth heads, and I mean, literally, they would wear their socks so long that you went and you booked them into the jail. They got on that mat, and the socks had grown into their skin. So when they peel the socks off, the skin came with it because their socks and skin were one thing, and it was just goo. That's all I always said. I always told the booking deputies, if you ever bring me through here, expect me to just like fight you as hard as I can because my feet will never touch that mat. Never touch that mat.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I get this call of a power theft behind a library.
Most like theft of utilities.
Theft of
Yeah.
utilities. Some transients got
Somebody
their
stealing
stuff
the electrical.
plugged into the back of the library.
Mhm.
So I get there and I pull up to the front of the library and I get out of my car and I was like, what is that smell? What is that smell? You know, and I'm gagging like,
Yeah.
it is that cat shit smell.
Is someone selling raw cocaine back
Yeah,
there?
like this is going to be bad. This is going to be really, really bad. I'm thinking like a dead body,
Yeah.
you know, like I got a stinker behind the library. Yeah. So I go back there and this is two transients, and this female transient's naked from her waist down, laying on her back, and this guy is just munching,
Whoa.
and the smell is her.
No.
They're in love.
They were in love,
Mhm.
and apparently he had COVID because he wasn't smelling or tasting nothing. So that was my last.
What happened to them?
I ended up booking them.
Oh, okay.
They had warrants. I ended up booking them. Hopefully, they got a shower at the jail.
What kind of bologna sandwich too?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was probably my worst smell story that wasn't a dead body.
Nice.
Yeah, that definitely. I've smelled worse people than when it comes to people, deceased people for sure.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Why do people smell worse than anything else?
I don't know.
Like,
when they're alive.
Dead animals don't smell as bad as dead humans.
No.
Dirty animals don't smell as bad as dirty humans.
No.
We are definitely the stinkiest species.
It's got to be in our diet.
Could be.
Animals don't eat Taco Bell.
What do you think the average diet of a transient person who
It's probably real balanced.
abuses meth?
Yeah, it's probably real healthy.
Yeah. It's a lot of super gulps.
Whatever.
Big gulps.
It's a lot of dark soda.
A lot of dark soda.
This is a real syrupy kind.
Spoiled food from a trash can.
Oh, you know what's always the funniest thing is when you see a transient just walk around with a gallon of milk that's half drank. And it's just like, you're still drinking this?
Yeah.
Like, how long is this good for?
100 degrees out, like Ron Burgundy. Milk was a bad choice.
It takes like hours for it to go bad, and you're just gonna over here just raw dogging it all day. Just make sure you get your calcium, strong bones.
Yeah, I think it's strong tweaker bones. All right. So one of our fellow officers had his car taken.
Right.
Talk about that.
All right. Well, I get a call from detectives saying, hey, there's this three-striker parolee that beat up one of our officers pretty bad. And he got booked, and for whatever reason, the parole hold didn't get there, and he got released. And he's going to, he's currently packing up. He had a Ford Lightning pickup, and he's packing it up, and he's going to head to Mexico. Come over here. I'm code 5 on this vehicle. I'm surveilling it. And when it takes off, we want you to make the stop and arrest this guy.
The old road burn.
The old road burn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a great tactic, by the way. Not a great tactic.
The detective got information that he's most likely armed. And so he calls it out, guy leaves. I get behind him and pursuit's on. And I'm talking like this is one of the fastest pursuits that I've ever been in. Like he's in a Ford Lightning pickup and he is going. So it ends up over off of one of our roads. There's intersection. There's a church there, and I know that the church has a preschool at it, and I'm thinking, great. 3-striker parolee, armed, preschool. But it's all built to cinder block.
Mhm.
So we get there, the guy crashes into the church. This other officer, Officer Clint, he pulls up and he's going to take a position on a perimeter. Well, he jumps out of his car and he leaves his car running with keys in it. And he hears me chasing this guy through the church, and I'm in the church courtyard, and I've already fired shots at this guy, like twice. Like as soon as he crashed, I fired shots at him. Couldn't get a good shot because he's digging under the seat for his gun.
Yeah.
And so I'm firing shots at him. And then he once I start shooting at him, he bails, man. He's takes off and he's going through the church courtyard. And now I'm facing him and like he's running like perpendicular to me, which is like I'm going to shoot at him, but my chances of hitting him aren't good. I've got a perfect cinder block background. And so I'm firing more shots at him. This guy's running and a motor officer gets there and, the motor officer is driving over the grass through this courtyard on his little scooter, trying to help me out. And, we chase this guy back out on the street. He tries to carjack a lady. Well, the lady locks her doors and she keeps driving and he can't get it. Well, he turns and he looks. Well, here's this running police car with the unlocked door.
Yep.
Jumps in it. Well, the motor officer's trying to help me, but I don't think he knows that I've shot at this guy. And he definitely doesn't know what I'm chasing this guy for.
Yeah.
And he's got a helmet on. He can't hear anything. So he pulls up to the driver's window where this guy's at and he's hitting it with his fist. And I'm on the passenger side window, and I'm yelling at this motor officer, get back, because I have no shot with him there.
Yeah. Bad backdrop.
And he realizes like, oh shit, he's going to shoot this guy. So he starts pedaling back on his motorcycle. And at the time, this is when we had the stupid things in the car where you have to press down
the buttons.
the button to get the car in gear.
Get in gear, yeah.
And so he's like revving on the gas and trying to pull the car into gear and he can't do it. And
That's why we have them.
yeah,
That's why we have it. Maybe it wasn't so stupid.
Yeah. Well, right as this guy finally gives me a clear shot, gets out of the way, this guy slams his car into gear and I get one shot off.
So he figures out how to unlock it.
How to unlock it. Yeah. And so this shot takes out the passenger side window and then kind of gets deflected down and goes into the metal console and just goes straight down from there.
Yeah.
And then the guy takes off in the police car.
Nice.
So Officer Clint, who I love, who he is. Yeah. He's just one of the best officers you could ask for. Super smart, hardworking, all around good guy. His car gets taken back to get processed. Yeah. At the police department after we recover it, and they fingerprint the entire inside of his car. Officer Clint had like fingerprint dust all over him for the next couple of months.
It never goes away.
Every time he went to work, it just never goes away.
Did the shot disable the radio or anything?
Nope.
Oh man.
No.
Did you guys catch him?
Caught him, yeah. Caught him in an attic.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, you gotta I'm terrible about it too. I've been lucky. I've never had mine stolen, but I'm real terrible about turning the thing off and just jump out of it.
Well, it's so funny. They made fun of him for so long. It's like they got him one of those things that hook onto your belt that like it's got a little cable towards it, and you
like a janitor
key out like this, like that. Yeah,
the chain on it, the heavy duty ones. Nice. That's actually not a bad idea.
It's just like it's one of those things. It's like the worst stuff happens to the best officers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we had Fuji on here. He talked about getting his car stolen. It happens. I mean, you're in a hurry to get out. And again, I'm not on my high horse because I've just never had it happen to me, but not because of anything I've done right. I just got lucky, I guess. Reminds me of I was at a training class one time and they were talking about indiscriminate parking. Like on a critical incident, you want to try to get the officers to park like correctly because you can't get
EMS in.
Yeah, medical or any other resources in. What happens is they're just like blocking the road with police cars. Yeah. So the guy that teaching the class was like, yeah, cops, they don't actually park. They just stop driving. It's like,
it is.
They put it in park,
They
but
put
they don't
the car
do.
in park.
They don't
and
do
then
the
and
action
then they
of
get out of
parking.
it. Just leave it wherever.
Yeah, it's funny to see that three striker Purell driving code away in a police car.
Yeah. That's funny. How long did he have the car for before?
They caught him that day.
But I mean, like, how long was he gone? Like,
Oh,
did they pursue him in that car?
They pursued him. I think it was another like 20 minutes.
Dang.
Did he end up crashing out or anything?
No.
You know?
No. He ended up at a house somehow, and he ended up in an attic, and
Mm.
wanting to say they just held it for SWAT.
Yeah. A little barricade. All right.
And
Well,
what year was that?
Oh boy.
early 2000s. Yeah.
Maybe 2003 or 4.
A while ago.
Early
Yeah.
2000s. Yeah.
Yeah, that was back when we pursued everything. You know, you had expired registrations. Yeah, we'll pursue you out of county.
Yeah. Now we adjust a little bit.
Yeah.
Tactics. Yeah. And I think I always think in terms of the road burn was a common tactic. And I try not to use that tactic at all now that I run the apprehension team. And
Yeah. Well,
if we
that's
can get
that's
them
one of the
down,
things is
locked down in a location, then we'll just take them.
I never, you know, everyone loved pursuits. I never liked pursuits.
Mhm.
I would do anything I could to get out of a pursuit. I don't want to be in a vehicle pursuit. I don't
Yeah.
want to be in a foot pursuit.
Yeah.
I mean, those are two of your quickest ways to get hurt.
Yeah.
Vehicle pursuits and
Or
foot
someone
pursuits.
else gets hurt.
Right. And especially at night too, because you've got that strobe effect from your lights, and you start misjudging distances and speeds and things like that. And that's your eyes.
Yeah, and you can't control for what they're going to do.
No, you can't. Oh, and you can't control. You can't control for what the civilian's going to do.
Yeah,
You know, you'll end up having a civilian not yield.
that's my biggest fear. You know, when I was a young man, I used to love them because, you know, when else do you get an opportunity to drive like that and do that?
Right.
You know, when I was 25 and my brain worked differently.
Exactly.
Now that I'm 40, it's like, yeah, well, I mean, there's excitement to be had, but you know, at the risk of what? And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, we're supposed to be smarter than these people.
yeah. So if I can set it up on the front end to avoid the pursuit from happening, then that's what I do now. So.
Yeah, you got to keep a balance.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, white cloth couch fingerprints.
Oh, this is where we'll talk about that nice black powder.
Yeah. So yeah, the fingerprint powder. What is the fingerprint powder?
It's
Like, what
like
does
a
it do?
black graphite, and it's like it is the finest material that you could ever imagine, and it's like finer than dust.
Yeah.
And once it gets on something, it like multiplies.
And so fingerprint powder, you put it on like a slick surface where you think someone's touched, and then you can use a brush to kind of spread it around, and then a sticky piece of adhesive to pull it, and you can get the actual.
Right. And like you can never get rid of the stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like if you like a pinhead amount of this powder, I mean, you can turn anything you want black. I mean, it's just nasty. And it'll permeate your pores like when you're using it, because it'll go up into the air. It doesn't take very much fingerprinting to make everything disgusting. So I have this call of a burglary over in the Southwest, and it's a young guy in his 20s who's watched way too much CSI type stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, because everybody thinks you can just fingerprint the thing, and right now,
and
then you'll know exactly who
you're
did
going to
it.
go like scan it in your car, and it's going to tell you who the suspect is, and they think that you can pull prints off of anything when realistically it has to be a non-porous, flat surface. And so he had a little electronic like stereo or something he had laying on this couch, and this is kind of a crappy apartment, and the only nice thing in this apartment is this white couch, and you could tell it's brand new. It's the only thing of value in this entire apartment. So I fingerprint everything that I can fingerprint, and he goes, hey, my stereo or whatever was sitting on my couch, you're not going to print that? I go, guy, I can't get prints off of that.
Yeah.
Oh yes you can, you're just lazy, you don't want to do your job. I'm like, okay, like, you want me to fingerprint your couch? You think I'm going to pull some prints on it? Well, there could be there. Like, okay. So
the couch itself.
The couch itself, this white cloth couch.
So he wants you to,
He wants me to pull prints off this couch.
Okay.
You had told him no several times.
Him, no, like, I can't pull a print off that. It's the wrong type. But this guy knew more.
Cloth,
This
yeah.
guy knew more than I did.
Yeah, very
And
adamant.
he argued with me, and he was trying to tell me I was lazy.
Yeah.
I fingerprinted that entire couch. I
You
used
never
a
know.
whole jar of that powder.
Oh no, that's a great couch.
And
Yeah.
the only thing in this guy's apartment that was nice was no longer nice.
Oh man.
But he got his service that day.
Yeah. Well,
Ask and you shall receive.
insistent, you know.
Yeah.
You want to? Did you find your prints?
Oh no.
Some butt prints, maybe.
Get a cramp. Sorry. All right. Talk to us about the. Oh, I don't know.
We won't mention any agencies.
Go for it.
So my partner Shannon and I,
Mhm.
you remember Shannon? We were working that same area where our prostitutes hang out, and we watch a John pick up one of our local ladies, and we make a car stop on him. And you know, whenever you get something like that, the first thing that you got to do is separate the prostitute from the John.
Mhm.
You know, you can't let them get on the same page.
Yeah.
You know, you want the real story, not the story they made up while you were stopping them.
And then you tell the John that the prostitute was actually a man before you released.
He could do that.
Done that before. Anyway,
You
go
could
ahead.
do that.
Sorry.
So anyway, we separate these two, and we're interviewing them. And while we're searching this John, we discover that he's wearing women's G-string panties,
Mhm.
and this guy's a fat slob.
Yeah.
What we also figure out that this John is married to a neighboring jurisdiction's law enforcement officer.
Oh.
So we're talking to the prostitute, and the prostitute's like, yeah, you know, this is what we're going to do. He picked me up. He's got this strap on, and he wanted me to peg him.
Oh man.
Yeah. And that's what he was into.
To each his own.
Right. And this is something like, you know,
So it's a BYO.
yeah, he brought it.
BYOD.
He brought
There
it.
you go. BYOD.
Yeah, he brought it. And so we're like, okay, what do we do?
Mm-hmm. Do you get a discount if you bring your own? I wonder.
Ugh, I don't know.
To pay the rental fee.
I don't know.
Yeah. That's how they make their money.
But it's kind of like,
Like
Yeah.
like rental car insurance.
Yeah, that's right.
well, my partner knew this John's wife.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, we got to let her know, but we don't want to call her,
Mhm.
you know? So it was
It's
one
an
of those,
uncomfortable conversation.
right. So it's like, okay, what we ended up doing is just like, so she could find out, we booked the dude,
Mhm.
you know? And it's like shameful on him, but it's kind of like, this guy's out doing this type of stuff. What's he going to bring home to?
Yeah.
What's he going to bring home to his wife? And we don't want to call her and say, hey, come pick your husband up.
Mhm.
But it happens. You know, you work that area. You're.
Do you know where your strap on is?
Oh my gosh! You just like you never know what you're gonna find
It's missing.
when you're up there. I mean, you'll find preachers with them,
Teachers.
Yeah.
teachers.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to do reverse John stings and things like that, and like you were always shocked at what
Yeah.
you ended up.
What's a reverse John sting?
Okay, so like reverse John sting is when like you're working Vice and you dress up our female police officers
as prostitutes.
as prostitutes, right? And we've had some fantastic. We had one. Her name started with a K, and she'd have people lined up down the block,
Mhm.
and so they'd go and make deals with these Johns, and then they'd bring them into the room, and then you'd arrest them.
Yeah.
So that's what a reverse John sting is.
Yeah.
It was just surprising. It wasn't always who you thought was going to be a John. Was a John.
Yeah. Yeah. Every time they do those, they cast a big net and they catch some surprising folks, I should
Yes.
say.
Yeah, and that's that. I mean, note to people: if the hooker is pretty, she's a cop. If she's in shape, she's a cop. If she doesn't have open sores, she's a cop.
Yeah, don't
Right.
do the old thing of they say, oh, if I ask you for a cop, you have to tell me if you're a cop. You know, that's actually not true.
Well, if you're not
The better trick is show me your teeth.
Yeah.
So you have all of them?
You have really nice teeth.
Yeah.
You're a cop.
exactly.
Anyway, our,
Check for burned fingertips,
mhm,
burned lips,
yeah, and that smell.
and that smell.
All right, the blue healer. What's that about?
Okay. So this is when I'm partnered with Brandon. We get an open 911 call,
Mm-hmm.
which means that somehow 911 call was sent into our dispatch and the line is open and there's no response.
Mm-hmm.
So we get there and it's got a chain link fence. And I come from a ranching background. So I see this blue Queensland
Mm-hmm.
healer cattle dog up on this porch. And I'm like, oh no. No. I am not going into this yard.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, are you guys familiar with
Yeah,
Queensland healers?
Yeah,
They heal.
yeah.
They will get you
On the back of the heel. Yeah,
on the back of the heel,
separate the cattle.
and they're not just cow dogs. They are like
Yeah, they're mean.
famously wonderful guard dogs.
Yeah.
Like very territorial.
Mm-hmm.
They protect their property, and so this dog is kind of up on this porch and is looking out at us. And
My grandpa had one, and like when you'd come to the house, he didn't like it if people would hug, like when you were saying goodbye.
Yeah.
Like if you would hug, he would it would
Nip
come
you.
and it would nip you,
Yeah.
get you to separate.
Mhm.
It's like,
Heard you.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this dog and I'm like, no. I'm not going in this yard.
Yeah.
And they're not real big, but originally they were bred with dingoes in Australia. That's their lineage. And Brandon's like, dude, it's just a little dog.
Yeah.
It's just a little dog. What are you so scared of? We go into yards with pit bulls and stuff like that. I go, I go, Brandon, no, that's a Queensland healer, man. We're not going in there. You don't understand these dogs.
Yeah, Bluey's gonna get you.
He's going to get you.
Bluey's gonna get
And
you,
I'm
yeah.
going to tell you right now, he's smarter than you are.
Yeah.
These dogs are so smart.
Yeah.
And so he's like, oh, we're going in. I'm like, okay, dude, but you're going in first, right? And I'm leaving this gate open.
Yeah.
So this smart Queensland healer, man, he lets us, and Brandon's a big dude, big, powerful guy. This dog lets Brandon get to the point of no return, and he lights off that porch. And Brandon pulls out his baton. And he's trying to swat this dog down out of the air, and this dog's jumping up and biting at him. And I'm running backwards, right? And I'm in tears laughing because I told this stupid son of a bitch.
Yeah.
So as I'm running backwards, my belt hooks the latch on the gate and pulls the gate shut. So I'm out of the yard, and now Brandon is locked in the yard with this dog.
Yeah.
And I'm crying from laughing so hard that I can't even see straight. And Brandon's like scooting down, like he's like squatted down on his butt, and he's trying to bat this dog off, and he keeps, open me up. And I couldn't open the gate.
It's funny. Yeah.
So he wouldn't. He, after that, I sincerely believe he never went into a Queensland's territory again.
No. Did it get him?
Oh, it got him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it got him. Not bad, but
Yeah, just a little nip.
nips. Yeah, enough to hurt.
Yeah, they're tough little bastards. Little Bluey and Bingo. All right, talk to us about I've been shot.
Okay. All right. I can't use. He was in the gang unit with me, and he ended up retiring. His name was Ryan.
Yep.
He was a SWAT operator. He was one of my partners in the gang unit. I called him Spazley because the guy was like, he was one of those guys that was doing 1,000 things at once. Like we'd be down 5 pieces of paper and he'd be wanting to go to Hot Falls where we were going to get more paper. And I'm like, it's like most overtime I ever worked in my life was with this guy because he couldn't stop. He couldn't be still. So we get called back in. There was a shooting that happened out south of town. One of our local gangsters did a shooting in a convenience store, and all we had was this moniker. So we get called back in, and we start working this case, and we end up figuring out who this guy is from his moniker, who had to be, by what gang he was in and what his moniker was.
Yeah.
And we figured out that he had a girlfriend out in the Southwest. So we are we'd got called in the morning, and we're working this thing, and by this time it's late at night. This is also the day that Ryan wrecked our patrol car 3 times in one day.
That's
Yeah.
going to be a record.
Um, he ended up backing into something, and then he missed a turn and went over a high divider and like almost ripped all the undercarriage out.
Yeah.
Well, and then the final wreck happens like at the end of the incident. So we're back and forth looking for this guy, and we finally see girlfriend's car parked on the side of her house. We're like, wow, that's the car.
Mhm.
That's the car. And you see these 2 heads in it, and she's in the driver's seat and he's in the passenger seat. And this is out in the Southwest, where the streets make no sense. Um,
A lot of turning and changing a direction.
right. The neighborhoods are all dark because the street lights suck.
Mm-hmm.
All of the trees have grown over and around the street signs, so
Yep.
they're hard to see. So we get out of the car and we go to contact him, and she slams in gear and they take off in pursuits on through this neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hanging out the window with my flashlight trying to read street signs because we got no idea where our computers weren't advanced like they were now. I mean, we're trying to put this thing out, and I'm trying to find street signs, and so I'm not seat belted in. And short pursuit, a few minutes, and we end up in a cul-de-sac, and Ryan T-bones this car.
Mm-hmm.
And when he T-boned this car, he T-boned it hard. And I got ejected straight up in the air because my seatbelt wasn't on, and I split my head open on the shotgun rack.
Ouch.
I didn't feel it at the time. Adrenaline's gone, couldn't figure out what happened.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that I hit my head, but I didn't really exactly know how. And he stays with the driver, and I start chasing this gangster, right? And this gangster's wearing shorts and tennis shoes. And I should have known it was wrong when I'm catching this dude,
Mm-hmm.
because this guy should have way outrun me.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have been able to get close to him. Well, he's okey doking me. He gets to go to the fence to this property, and he's going to go up over this fence. So I holster my gun, and I'm going to pull him off. He turns and puts a 38 6 inches from my forehead.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Dead to rights. He's got me. And then I hear bam, 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 bam. And I see these bright flashes. And then I feel my head, and I grab my head, and my hand's all bloody. And this dude falls over. And Ryan yells, he goes, cuff him. I go, I can't. I've been shot. So that was that story. I thought dude shot me, but Ryan somehow 60 feet away, pitch black,
Saved the day.
saved me. That guy would have just blown my head completely off.
Wow.
So that was that story.
Yeah.
That was the day that I was thankful that he was so intense.
Yeah.
And driven.
Yeah. Proficient.
Yeah.
Saved you. Dang, that's scary. That's scary. Yeah. And also, you're not going to know what happened in that kind of situation. Head bleeding.
Yeah.
Damn.
Like I hear the gunshots and I see the muzzle flashes, and then I grab my head and my hand's all bloody. It's like, what else could have happened? What else could have happened?
Yeah. Damn. Lucked out, man. Sometimes it's better to be
I've been
lucky than to be good.
I've been lucky a lot of times. I've been lucky a lot of times. I think it always felt like there was some higher power that would just like protect me from danger, because there's a lot of times that
Keeping me around for some reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that feeling. All right. So then now that you medically retired since the last 8 years or so, right?
Mhm.
And you've been working and doing backgrounds. Talk to us a little bit about that.
It's something that I really enjoy. But one of the things that I wish that
Nobody's putting guns in your face anymore.
no one's putting guns in my face. Unfortunately, I still sometimes have to go out in bad neighborhoods and things like that. But I can just walk away.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I wish we have a real hard time right now getting people hired,
Mhm.
and it's for some of us just for the stupidest reasons.
Yeah.
Like dishonesty in our hiring process is like the one thing that's going to get you gone.
So what are some examples? Like,
People worry about past drug use,
mhm.
which, like, for us, if it's over a certain period of time, is not a big deal. But being dishonest about it will, especially in the final background interview,
Yeah.
that will get you disqualified.
It's that old saying that the cover-up's worse than the crime.
The cover is definitely worse than the crime. What people don't realize is 95% of things can be forgiven.
Mhm.
Don't apply if you've had a felony, obviously.
Yeah.
Don't waste your time. But it's just the dishonesty. We can work with a lot of things, but we can't work with the dishonesty because you can't testify in court if you're dishonest.
Yeah.
You can't testify in court. You can't be a police officer.
Mhm.
Um,
What's some advice you'd have for someone going through the background process? Somebody who's wanting to become an officer and they're going through the process.
when you fill out your application paperwork, if it asks for something, it means we want it.
Mhm.
So don't leave things blank.
Mhm.
Most things are done by emails now. So make sure that the information that you put down is correct. Don't put down an email address that's bad. Know that the email address is good before you put it down for your references, for your coworkers, for your supervisors.
Mhm.
Don't make your background investigator do the work that you're supposed to do.
Mhm.
Um,
So the person who has this sort of a big say in whether or not you get the job, don't make them work harder than they need to.
exactly. And as a background investigator, you probably have more sway on whether a person gets hired
Yeah.
than anybody, because if you're a good candidate and you do what you're supposed to do, we are going to do everything that we can to get you through the process and help you. If you're a bad candidate, why are we going to waste our time
Mhm.
on you? You know, it's just there's backgrounds are super intense now. They're not like they used to be. I mean, we have background reports now that are like 40 pages long.
What's the process like for someone when they're going through? Like, what can they expect when they apply and they get through? So they get through the initial stage. They take the written test. They pass that. They do the physical agility and they pass that. And
Right.
they do an interview, and they score high enough in their interview, and now they're in the
They're going to
process.
go to poly.
Okay, so what
We
is
do our polygraphs at the beginning of the process, whereas like some other agencies, they'll wait till the background investigation is done and then do the polygraph. We do our hours at the beginning prior to the background investigations, and our polygraphers are extremely competent. You will not be able to hide anything from them.
Yeah.
So you might as well just be honest if you did it, or put it down. Be honest, because more than likely it's not going to disqualify you.
Yeah.
But not putting it down, not being honest, that's what's going to disqualify you.
Yeah.
Or if you try and manipulate the polygraph, that's not going to be good for you either.
Mhm.
You know, because it's either going to go to a background investigator who's going to find out why, you know, or they're going to repoly you. And you waste their time again, they're probably going to kick you.
What do you mean by manipulate the polygraph?
Believe it or not, there's ways to manipulate a polygraph. I kind of really don't want to put it out there.
Oh yeah, I know.
Because I don't want to help people.
Yeah.
But people can find out how to do it.
Mhm.
And it's all it's going to do is piss your polygrapher off.
But it's something they can tell when the person's
They
trying
can tell.
to manipulate it and trying to
They
play
can tell.
games or
Exactly.
Wait, so you're saying that a thumbtack in my shoe won't work?
No.
Okay. So
No.
Ocean's 11 lied to me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, a penny under your tongue isn't going to make you sober.
yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Just tell the truth.
Just tell the truth, and give your background officer a way to work with you. You know, like we've had some people that have done some things, but time and distance.
Yeah.
You know, we want, and I can tell you as a former training officer, I want someone who's had some life experience.
Mhm.
I don't want that kid that's, you know, lived in mama's basement. You
Yeah.
know, I don't want that kid. I want a guy who's gone out. He's made some mistakes.
Yeah, maybe got arrested a time or two.
Maybe got arrested a time or two.
Yeah.
Has put some time and distance. You know, has some life experience. Someone that's going to go out there and it's not going to have. You know, I'm not going to have to tell him, see what they're doing over there, and not have him recognize it.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay, but like, make your mistakes, own up to them, and show that you've made improvement.
Yeah. All right. What else? Anything else as far as the hiring process, background process? Anything that you think that people should know?
No, I mean, if you're interested in law enforcement, now is the time. Now is the time, because every agency I talk to is having trouble getting people. And there's to the point right now where if you're in some semblance of shape and you can pass a background,
Yeah.
you have a very, very good chance at a very rewarding career.
Why is it you think that these agencies, or why, at least you can speak for our agency, why is it that we're having trouble with hiring?
You
What are the
know,
roadblocks that we're facing that are keeping us from getting people hired?
I can see, I don't want to say anything bad about our particular agency because I love it. And I've been blessed to be a part of it.
Hmm.
There's certain things I don't think that the retirement is what it's supposed
Mhm.
to be at
Yeah.
this point. It's not like a retirement that I had access to.
Mhm.
I think that could be improved.
So you're saying the new hires are looking at what they're going to get out on the back end of it and thinking it's not doing the calculus, saying it's not
I
worth
think that
applying.
for the difficulty of the job,
Mhm.
no, I don't think the retirement is good enough for the difficulty of the job
Mhm.
and the risk that you take.
So applicants are seeing that, or potential applicants are seeing that,
I would look at it.
and being like, maybe not. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
go do something else.
I know I would have looked at it.
Yeah.
I think the pay is okay.
Mhm.
But I also think too, and I think this is the number one reason is people see the risk in law enforcement now with the things that have happened
Mhm.
over the past several years, the liability that you can face.
Mhm.
A simple mistake and you're the one in prison.
Yeah.
Or on national news.
Or on national news,
Or on
and
TikTok.
yeah,
More likely to be on TikTok.
exactly. Or the things your family's going to have to go through.
Going viral.
It's like people don't understand what a police officer's wife goes through.
Yeah.
Especially if a police officer makes the news for anything,
Mhm.
it's their wives going to get bombarded with phone calls like,
Or
"Hey, why
husbands.
couldn't you have done this?"
Mhm.
I can remember I had an incident, and like the only thing that it was my first OIS, and the only thing that bothered me about that was how my wife was treated.
Yeah.
It wasn't what I had done or how people treated me. It was like, well, couldn't he have disarmed him with his baton?
Yeah.
Couldn't he have done this? It's like, no, he couldn't.
Yeah.
That's not how reality works.
Yeah.
And people don't understand. I mean, they watch one too many episodes of TJ Hooker.
Yeah, you can't throw a baton at someone's feet and
No,
have
that's
them get
not how
tripped
it
up.
works.
Yeah.
We don't use those batons anyway.
Yeah. So you're saying it's a fear of the public scrutiny and
Public scrutiny, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the pressure that they can put on people's families, the liability in it.
Hmm.
It's a different day in law enforcement.
What do you think could be done to kind of mitigate that or fix that, or can anything be done?
We're very fortunate to live in a community that has respect for us,
Yeah.
that is pro law enforcement. So we have that. A lot of other places in the country do not.
Hmm.
Um, you can't make newscasters tell the truth.
Mhm.
They're going to tell the story that sells, and I think like people don't realize that news is not news anymore. It's a business.
Mhm.
Um, and controversy is what sells.
Mhm.
It's what pays.
What about YouTubers?
Well,
First
it's like
an auditor.
I would
Yeah.
tell people to get balance
Yeah.
in what they watch, what they take in. Look at both sides. I mean, because we all know that you watch Fox News is going to be 180 from MSNBC.
Yeah.
You're going to be. I listen to. I don't watch news anymore. I read news, and I try and get balanced news. I listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think podcasts. That's where your future media is going to be.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I was just talking about, like, I don't know if you dealt with this when you were still active as an officer, but the First Amendment auditors and people that are intentionally trying to record you and try to provoke a response.
There was some of that.
In order to put it on the internet
There
to
was.
get views and get clicks.
There was, and I'd say that police officers just need to remain professional.
Yeah.
Don't shy away from arresting those people when they cross the line.
Yeah.
If they cross the line and they need to be arrested, make the arrest.
Mhm.
And in this community, I think that the department is still going to have your
Yeah.
back, and I think the community is going to have your back because our community does not want to see that.
Mm.
There is a small minority of people that want to see that.
Yeah. Yeah. If someone
They-
breaks
they-
the law,
yeah.
then they break the law.
Exactly. Our community wants to see you do your job.
Mhm. Yeah. My recommendation is to just not engage. I mean, typically they won't do anything to physically obstruct or prevent you. They do get annoying. They do
They do get annoying.
They do get loud
But
and
you know what? I mean,
obnoxious,
that's why we go to. That's why our academies are so good.
Mhm.
You know, they prepare you for that. That's why the harassment in the academy. Some things got to just roll off your back.
Yeah.
They're not doing it to you. They're doing it to your uniform.
Yeah.
And you got to realize it's not personal. They're doing
Yeah.
it to your uniform.
Yeah, and you got to realize that like whatever it is that they're just trying to get you to do something that's going to generate the most views.
Exactly.
And if you
Clickbait.
and if you engage with that, then you're doing what they want you to do.
Right.
And if you don't engage, I'm not saying be rude or disrespectful, but you can just
I'm going to say that too. In those circumstances, when you do make the arrest, be respectful.
yeah, of course.
Watch your language.
Mhm.
You know, watch your body language.
Hmm.
But I always have had this rule that I was brought up on, that I instilled in all the people that I trained: ask, tell, make.
Hmm.
You know, don't ask and then tell 6 times.
Hmm.
You know, ask, tell, make, and be
Yeah.
professional.
Yeah. Well, and I always tell people too, don't give an order that you can't back up
can't do.
legally justified to
Right.
back up.
Exactly.
You start barking orders at somebody,
Right.
then you better be legally justified.
Know
to give
know
that.
your laws, know your policies.
Yeah, because I don't bluff.
No,
I think bluffing is ridiculous.
no, because you hurt the next guy.
Yeah,
You hurt the next
because
guy.
once your bluff gets called, well, you're kind of
Yeah,
screwed.
then what?
Yeah, exactly. Right on. All right. Anything else, RJ? Any other pointers or points of advice?
No, I don't think so.
Nick, you got anything?
Nope.
All right. Well, again, thanks for coming out and talking to us.
My pleasure.
Thank you, everyone, for listening, and stay frosty.